Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Facebook Andromeda Unpacked webinar. I am Jake Matsanke. I'm one of the partners here at Consultants Digital, and this is my colleague.
I am Isaac Ferguson, Account Director here at Consultants Digital.
And we are super excited to have everybody here today and to walk you through what I think is the golden era of advertising. The way that Meta has changed over the past 12 months is incredible. We've got some customers who are just killing it online. And what we're going to do today is we're going to break down what is Andromeda, how does it work, um, and how you can win online is really what we're going to be breaking down for you. We're going to show you how we approach advertising on Meta. And Meta is obviously Facebook and Instagram. So that's going to be a part of what we're going through because the game has changed and it is unbelievable the success you can have once you know how to kind of win the game and what the rules are of winning on Andromeda.
Yeah, I've been doing this a long time, Jake, 15 plus years. I don't want to age myself, but this is, I think, by far the most fundamental and foundational shift that I've seen in advertising in the digital space. And that includes all updates from Google. I mean, I've always been a very big Google guy in terms of intent and driving results that you want, whether it be leads or ROAS. And over the last 3-4 months, working with you, unpacking this entire algorithm and what's behind the tech, I am going on record saying I'm changed now. I'm a changed person.
He's a changed man.
Changed man.
He is a changed man. He's a Meta first guy now. It's unbelievable.
Never thought I'd see this day.
We're also going to be bringing you lots of humor today, hopefully, throughout our webinar. But let's get into it. I want to start off with a story that I think will kind of explain the power of Meta and how you can be using this platform. A little story time. So I had a baby just over 2 months ago. And my wife, some of you who are on the join us today, you've worked with us before, you're currently working with us, know this, she used to be working in the company. She's now working from home. And so we're trying to kind of navigate this. You know, how do we, Grace is now working at home, I'm working at the office. So the other week I came home and we have these like baby carts all throughout our house. Well, we've got 2 of them. And a baby cart consists of like diapers. It consists of burp cloths, a bunch of different things. Anyways, my wife is quite particular with how you fill one of these baby carts up. So I was putting the burp cloths in one and she stopped me and said, Jake, you're not doing that properly. And I said, okay, well, this is how I do this. Anyways, so I started to fill it up the way I wanted to. And again, Jake, I think you should do it this way. So I love my wife. And I said, hey, lovely wife, I actually don't love it when you're telling me how to fill up this baby cart. I would like to fill up this baby cart my way. Anyways, the next day I see an ad and it's basically saying, hey, have you been in an argument with your partner who's asking you to do things? And when they're asking you to do things, you're taking it as like a demand and you don't like that. And it's creating this argument between you. And I'm like, that is exactly how I'm feeling right now. How dare someone tell me how to fill up this cart? Anyways, but let's really kind of reverse engineer what happened there. I haven't actively, and this was from like a marriage counseling therapist or something along those lines. But what ended up happening, I didn't search for anything like this. I wasn't going online saying, hey, I'm annoyed with my wife because this happened. There's no apps that I had downloaded that were about, therapy or anything like that. It's my phone. My phone's listening to me. Your phone listens to you, listens 24 hours a day. That's why when you say, the magic words of Siri, it will come online and it will, start to take a request. So what happened? Our phone was listening to us and Meta was able to deconstruct what was happening in that situation. It was able to determine there's 2 partners. One of them is telling them to do something. The other person is not liking that. And then what it did was it basically said, here's who this individual is. Then it wouldn't search for the millions of advertisers out there to see if it could find the correct counterpart to what I'm looking for before I even knew I was looking for it. Then I got served an ad about something that I didn't even realize was happening in my life. Could you imagine? Like, think about that. Think about the intent. Typically, people would think that, well, Google was, it's known as having the highest intent, right? Someone's actively looking online for marriage counselor, whatever it might be. And then you're going to have an ad that someone would click on. But now, before you're even aware of something in your life, you're having an ad come in and saying, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah,
I know this is happening.
it's absolutely incredible. I think the big difference here is, a year ago or 2 years ago, somebody would have had to be working on the other side of that ad at an agency or a company and specifically typing in target interests like new father, with a whole bunch of contextual overlays on that. And maybe they would have put that ad in front of you,
Yeah,
maybe not.
crazy.
Yeah. Now, in the new world that we're talking about today, that ad was able to interrupt you because it knew your intent. It knew how you were feeling. And it
Mhm.
matched you. It breaks everything down into vectors and numbers, and it matched you with an ad instantly.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm now in marriage counseling. That's the end of the story here. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Okay, but I wanted to explain that just to kind of talk about the power of this. And that's just one example. We all talk about this, how you feel like Meta is reading your mind. You'll think about something, then you see an ad. And
It's
it's
pretty
not
close.
far from that.
Yeah, it's really close
It's
now.
not far from that. So we're going to be breaking it down. How do you win? And you need to have the ad, the asset to basically answer or to be directed to that individual when they're thinking something or they're feeling something. If you don't have the ad, the correct asset, you can't play in the game. So we're going to be breaking this down even more. The science behind it, we're going to get kind of deep into the technology behind it. And then we're going to talk about what you can be doing to play in the game. Let's break into it. Share files. Share now. There's also going to be some Q&A.
This is interactive.
There's going to be some polls.
Polls. I think there's around 4 polls.
We've got around 4 polls.
Yep.
A whole bunch of good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I think everybody should. I can see that now on my screen. So
Oh, you can see it.
I can.
Okay. I can't see it on my screen. Okay. 1 second here. You can try it on yours.
Sure.
It's not loading on mine. Okay, not loading on mine.
There we go. It's up.
Okay.
Yep. And I think we know enough about this topic. You don't even need to look at the content within it.
Perfect. As long as it's up, great.
All right. And hopefully some of our colleagues that are watching us live will tell us that, okay, I'm getting a head nod. Everyone can see the presentation. Fantastic. All right. So since you are the co-founder of this company, Jake, why don't you tell us a little bit about why people should be listening to us about Meta Andromeda?
Yeah, I mean, you and I have both been in the industry I've been in for 16 years. You've been in a bit longer than that. Our company is focused on scaling businesses. So we're experts when it comes to digital marketing. We're at the forefront of what's happening from a technology perspective, how you can leverage AI, integrating it into your workflows and just be better marketers and get your business found and scale. So
fantastic. Yeah, I think you coined the phrase, we engineer growth, but in this case, we've actually de-engineered Andromeda for growth.
That's right.
Yeah, reverse engineered.
Yeah.
And boom, we've got our first poll right away. So just to get to know kind of the audience's intent, we're asking you how much time. This is a fun one. We're gonna have a couple of fun questions today. How much time do you think the average Canadian spends on their phone daily? And we'll give you about 30 seconds to populate your answer.
Okay.
And we actually don't know the answer, so we were just curious if anybody out there did.
Okay, a couple more seconds here. How much time do people spend on their phone?
We actually have a tie right now for the top two answers. The top two answers are 1 to 3 hours and 3 to 5 hours. And then in second place, close, that's actually creeping up now a little bit, more than 5 hours. Interesting.
Okay.
Now,
What is the answer, good sir?
the answer is 5.65 hours, which is absolutely ridiculous to me. I guess nobody likes the outdoors anymore or anything else in their life. 5.65 hours spent by Canadians on their phones daily.
Yeah, people live on their phones. And even when they're watching like a TV show, I mean, everyone's canceled their cable television by now, but if you do happen to be watching Crave or Netflix, a lot of people, they're still on their phone doom scrolling.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's absolutely nuts how attached we are to our phones. It's probably the most powerful tool that we've ever had at our fingertips, and we are definitely spending the time using it. Some other interesting facts about Meta and its family of apps. When we talk about Meta and the family of apps, we're talking about Facebook, we're talking about Instagram, of course. They also own WhatsApp, and Meta AI is starting to emerge as one of the significant players in the AI industry as well. So that's what we're talking about when we talk about the Meta ecosystem or family of apps. Interesting stat here that I found, 31.7 million Canadians are active on social media. I would have thought it was a little bit less than that. That represents over 71% of the population, which is a lot of people.
Yeah, people, they live on their phones now.
They do.
Even my parents, they'll come and visit. They're just scrolling all day long. People literally just live on their phones.
Huh. So they don't want to talk to you. They're not
They do
interested.
not like speaking with me. They just spend time on their phones.
Fair enough.
But this is the reality, right? Like you used to have to, when you wanted to target someone, if it was a really specific or unique product you're selling, you'd have to find like trade magazines you'd want to sell it that you knew that people who would be interested in your product would, buy. But now everybody's on this platform. So the game is completely changed. I don't care if you're in the B2B space, AI can find who you're looking for. We're going to talk more about that.
Yeah, and I'm definitely one of those guilty people that have always kind of put Meta in a certain box where, if it's not B2B, it's not going to work for, anything complicated. It's going to drive, leads that are less qualified than Google. But as I said at the beginning, over the past 6 months or so, my opinions have completely shifted.
Yeah. I like to think of it, it's like it's your new cable television, right? You've got different channels, people have different algorithms for what they're interested in. But at the end of the day, people are living on these platforms. So
they are.
All of your consumers are on there.
Yeah. And I don't know exactly what the population of our planet Earth is right now. I think it's up around 9 billion. But 3.35 billion people log into a Meta app, whether it's one of those ones that I talked about earlier, every day. So that's not the overall users. That's every day. A third of the population is more than a third is logging into a Meta app. That's insane.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to take us through the agenda today? What we're going to get out of this?
So quick agenda overview. We're going to be talking about the technology that is driving Andromeda. We're going to talk about what is Andromeda. Some of you still might be thinking, what the heck does this word even mean? Why are we talking about this? We're going to talk about how this new technology is affecting your Meta ad strategy, how to use this platform better than your competition, and you're going to be able to plan your media buys more effectively for 2026. I think after you've gone through this, you're going to be thinking a lot differently about where you want to be putting your advertising budget.
Yeah, couldn't agree more, Jake. All right.
Yeah, I can talk about this one. I found this interesting. So this is local HVAC companies in Toronto. The one on the left, they're running a very few ads. Okay. This is kind of the old way of doing it. You might have a couple static ads, you go to Meta, maybe you've got one short form video, and you spend a lot of time creating and crafting that ad. So it's going after the right ICP, ideal customer. And then you're sending it out thinking, yes, we've just made this masterpiece.
Yeah, you're A/B testing audiences. You're trying to hone in as best you can with all the data that you have.
Yeah, and you're spending so much time in creating these assets, this ad, and creating this ad campaign, and then you have the new way. The new way. Here's another HVAC company, also in Toronto, and they've got over 220 ads in their account. These are short form video ads. These are static posts. So image ads. Look at the difference there.
Yeah, huge difference. And it is a monumental, fundamental shift, right? If you think about just back to your story at the beginning of this webinar, by having this breadth of ads within your ecosystem, you're able to serve a lot of different user intents that you might not be aware of, right? So no longer are you just putting two ads that you like up there and telling it where to go. You're giving Meta the opportunity to serve your ads to different people and match you up with your ideal customer.
That's right. Okay.
All right. So, I mean, to your earlier question, what exactly is Andromeda? Andromeda is an update, and it's really an update about retrieval. So Meta has invested, I think, over $8 billion into this as well. And what they've done is they realized that the old way of doing this was broken. They've noticed that people are creating content at a much higher velocity and scale now, especially with the advent of AI. So that's part of it. That started to break the actual retrieval algorithm that Meta had originally. And we all noticed this. I mean, this goes back to my earlier point about thinking about Meta as a lower, lead quality sort of source. They just didn't have the capacity. Like nobody had the capacity to match that many creatives with that many people out there. And then on the flip side of this as well, we all know privacy is a big thing. So Meta needed to have an answer to the reduced amount of personal identifying information, or PII, that people have. That are able to provide to Meta. So how do you do that? Essentially Andromeda.
So it's their software update for how they're serving ads.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, it's literally a supercomputer that is able to retrieve things at an exponentially faster pace than it was before. So it can retrieve ad matched to your mood and tone and what you're going through during the day as you experience instantly, and then match you guys together.
Magic is what you could call it.
I would definitely call this a dark art.
So why did they need to do this?
They needed to do this, as I was mentioning before. The old model is broken, right? So we were seeing a lot of lower intent matches. You're not necessarily getting served out there unless you had a crystal ball and you could actually peer into your ideal customer and what they were thinking at a certain time. It was almost impossible to be able to target the right customers at the right time.
Yeah.
And then cookies, right? We've all heard that word, buzz term thrown around there. The reduction of third-party cookies. So no longer can you pass information from a website over to Meta. It's not going to know a lot about your previous history and what you've been searching and where you've been going on the internet, which is good. I don't think I necessarily want them to be tracking all of my browses and everything that I'm doing. But what this does is it fundamentally changes the way that it's looking and targeting you to what's inside the creative, the mood and tone of that creative, and then matching you as opposed to us trying to manipulate it to do that.
One more question for you, Isaac. Why did
Sure.
they call it Andromeda?
This is a guess. There's been no official release from Meta, but I'm going to guess they didn't name it after the plant Andromeda, and probably not after I think it's Greek mythology. There was an Andromeda character that maybe married Neptune, if my memory serves correctly. But what I believe it to be is a galaxy. So, not Neptune. Andromeda is our closest galaxy or sister galaxy to the Milky Way, and it's got over 1 trillion stars in there. And if you look at it through a telescope, which I've actually never done or plan to do, I'm sure it looks like a chaos, right? All those stars everywhere. You probably don't look at it as a very structured thing, but at the core of every single one of our galaxies that are around us is a black hole that's powered with gravity. So really, it's super structured in chaos.
Got it.
And I'm guessing that's the reason why they call it this.
Cool. Okay, so this is the old way of advertising as well. We're going to walk you through what's changed. So up to what, like 6 months ago, even maybe a bit before that, you used to be ad agencies really focused on the targeting to try and find their ICP. Within the Meta ad platform, Facebook ad Manager, you'd be able to create different ad groups, targeting people of different demographics, age, psychographics, things they might be interested in, different affinity groups. You could share retargeting lists, remarketing lists. You could show your email list to try and target the right people for this ad to find. That's the old way. It's changed. So
yeah, I think that just to build on that a little bit, an agency's job was to be the best targeter for a company as possible. So, I mean, I've worked in a lot of environments where you spend a lot of time trying to hone in and test audiences and build lookalike audiences and do retargeting to certain audiences, whether or not they've taken certain actions on your site. That's the old way of doing this, was really, really working and making educated guesses towards where your customers are at a certain point. But that has all changed.
Tell us about how this has changed, Isaac.
As I was mentioning before, Andromeda, if you think about it, it's really the engine at the bottom of the ad network. So in this illustration, we see how complicated people are. I don't think we are all put in boxes of 35 to 44 likes baseball and cats. I don't think that completely defines me or you. I'm a little bit more complicated than that. I just don't like cats, really, is what that is. So I'm complicated. So how do you understand people? What Andromeda does is it's kind of scores you. It breaks users down into vectors, which is basically a mathematical equation. And then it matches your vector, which includes your mood and the recent actions that you've taken, to an ad that you would potentially want to see. So it is the retrieval system at the bottom of this network. So we've got users on one side, we've got this entire ecosystem of billions of millions, hundreds of millions of ads on the other side. And Andromeda is the piece of software that makes them match up.
Mm-hmm. So everyone is a vector, which is really just a bunch of numbers.
It is. Yeah.
And each number is representing something different. And then they're matching you, which is a bunch of different numbers, up with an advertiser, which is a bunch of other numbers. And they're connecting the two of them.
Yeah. In your earlier example, maybe your pain point was vector 6.21, just for sake of argument. They have a set of ads that they've also labeled vector 6.21. So that's how you got served that.
Yeah. Great. Next poll. We've got it live. What is your most effective online advertising platform? So I think this is an interesting question, because if you would have asked me this question last year, or a couple of years ago,
Very different answer.
Very different answer.
Yeah.
It's Google all day long. And maybe a year from now it might change as well, as you can start to advertise on things like ChatGPT. But yeah, I think that this is interesting to get the results. We've got 5 seconds remaining. 5, 4, 3, 2. Publish the results.
All right, we've got a tie again.
Okay, so we can see that Google and paid ads on Meta are leading. We've also got SEO in there as well. And that's kind of what we're seeing.
Yep, and absolutely. I mean, this follows a trend that I would expect over the last 5 years. I'd say 5 years ago, I would have said SEO, hands down, is the best way to advertise or to get in front of customers. Google has now buried organic results a little bit lower down the page. So while it's still very relevant and becoming even more relevant when it comes to LLMs and the chat GPTs of the world, making sure you're showing up there, Google Ads would have taken over, 2 years ago as the highest intent driver of qualified whatever I'm looking for, whether it's leads or ROAS. But now, I would say paid social again.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Cool. Okay, so if we're taking a look, we're going to get a little bit technical, and the entire webinar is not all technical. Don't worry, we're going to get into some fun, creative stuff a little bit later. But if we're taking a look under the hood of what's actually powering this, it's two very powerful things. So NVIDIA, which is used to be a game development compression software company that made chips that made things faster, is at the head of this. It's now the highest valued company in the world at some ridiculous number that just doesn't even make sense to me. They have made a super chip specifically for Meta called the Grace Hopper super chip. And what Meta has done is it's taken that computing power and added its own chips, the MTIA chips, which are essentially contextual retrieval chips. So the two of those are working together to over 10,000 times the computing power that Meta used to have just a year ago.
Wow. Impressive stuff, Isaac. Impressive stats.
Mm-hmm. So just building on that as well, NVIDIA has, I mean, this is the biggest change, right? If we talk about the foundational change here, what is the one, magic silver bullet that has changed this entire ecosystem? It's NVIDIA, and it's that chip. So it's able to scan millions of options per second. And again, it takes us from the world of educated guessing, very educated guessing if you're in an agency and you were great at targeting, to data-driven precision. So it is no longer about having to guess and do A/B testing and see what happens and comes back. It's all about what the AI sees and leveraging that. It's about understanding the nuances too: image, audio, text, sentiment, all those wonderful things.
Yeah, so I can talk about this one. So when you were advertising as an agency, you'd go back to the targeting, and want to try and target the individual based on who you think would be right for that ad. Now it's changed. So what we're wanting to do is create a whole plethora of ads. We've got specific ad types we want to create, and we bring them down. We call it a spoke. So the 8 different spokes are the different types of ads that we want to be creating to appease Meta's algorithm. And then what Meta does is taking those different ad types. You can see here we've got explainer. So you're explaining your product, you're explaining your service. You've got a founder story. Depending, maybe if you're a Fortune 500, 100, that's not relevant. If you're an SMB, everybody has a founder story, and you want to showcase what that founder story is. So you want to have an ad on your founder story. You want to have before and afters. We'll talk more about this in a minute. UGC, which is user generated content. So you can have testimonials. Us versus them. Why should someone choose your company or your product versus someone else? You want to have comparisons, in a comparison ad type. And then you want to have static ad types as well in short form video. So you want to create all these different ads, and what's neat, you send them out into the ether, as I call it, and Meta is going to figure out how people should be engaging with them. If you're going to have a top of funnel ad, maybe the founder ad, people are product unaware. And now they're going to see a UGC style ad. Now they're going to see an us versus them. And we're leading them down the sales funnel until they eventually convert.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to unpack this. Essentially, finding pockets of people that match the ads that match the action that you want people to take. So, yeah, it's super cool what's happening. And here comes the hard truth. So, what agencies used to be very good at, and still probably are very good at, even though it doesn't matter at all anymore, is the targeting apparatus within the Meta ecosystem. So, as we've alluded to a few times, it's pulling those levers, understanding audiences, building different lookalikes based on actions within what they're taking. But now, that's all over. That's done. There is no more reason to do any of that at all. And it's about signals, right? So understanding the signals that your ads that you're creating, it's moved the strategy from targeting to creative targeting. So there's still definitely a need for strategy, even more so, I'd say now. And it's less about actually seeing the data and being able to pull the switches. It's about really understanding the ad and what that ad is meant to do at different stages of your buyer's journey. So content type, all of those types that Jake just talked about, contextual data, audio attributes. So as you mentioned, your phone is listening to you. It's going to understand if you're in a great mood today and you're, talking about something, or if you're in a not so good mood because somebody just told you to put something away that you didn't like. And then user engagement. So what you've engaged with over time as well. And as we had mentioned before, not to get too technical on this, it breaks all of that down into different vectors or signals, we can call them, and understands everything about that ad and understands everything about the user at the same time, and then puts them together at the perfect time.
Great.
With that, obviously, there comes some new strategic foundational optimizations that need to happen within the Meta ecosystem. So campaigns used to be segmented, and again, this is going to get a little technical, so we'll try to leave the finer details out of it. But campaigns used to be separated by user intent, whether it was, I'm aware of a product, I'm aware of a solution, or I'm not aware of anything at all. And it's just being put in front of me. And we used to segment our campaigns that way. And then we used to put, sometimes 1, 2 different ads in there. And then we'd play around with the targeting. We would play around with the entire campaigns, adjust budgets that way. It was a very kind of fragmented way of looking at things. So that is now completely gone. Complexity is actually the enemy. You don't want to do any of that. You want to consolidate and simple, and then use the power of AI. So Meta has invested $8 billion into this, or potentially more. I forget the actual number. Why not use the power of that investment? It's working really well for some of the clients that we're running it on right now. And we can tell you firsthand that this works. All right, time for another poll.
Okay, the next poll. Do you have creatives that speak to your audience at multiple buyer's journey touch points?
So what we mean by that is, do we have creatives, or do you have creative, whether it's video or static, that talk to people about awareness, consideration, or activation? Really that traditional funnel or buyer's journey.
Yeah. And again, traditional way, I'm selling jackets. Hey, you might have one ad that says, hey, I sell jackets. That could be it, right? Or you've got a whole plethora of ads, founder story of who made the jacket, explainer video of the jacket.
All of the different things somebody would need in their mind to evaluate whether or not they wanted to buy a jacket, basically.
Yeah. Okay, quick results. No, I have less than 5 ads running. So that's kind of what we thought.
Not surprised, right? This is a new thing. It's not necessarily mainstream adapted yet. This update did happen officially about a year ago, but it's been rolling out slowly across different countries. And I think it was September or October just of this year where it is fully rolled out to everyone. So not surprising, right? That was the right way to do things, but it's not that time anymore. It's time to change. All right. So how do we change the game? What do we have to do? What do we have to do to be successful, Jake?
Well, Isaac, you need to have ads targeted towards, I like to say, any potential question or concern or challenge someone might have that could potentially be interested in your product, if that makes sense. So you want to have between 8 to 50 unique concepts per campaign. So we've got customers starting out typically around 8 to 15 ads. It can be static ads, it can be short form video ads. And then you're continuously creating them after they've been exhausted. And what's also really neat, what we're seeing is you used to create ads and then you take a look at the stats for that particular ad. And if that particular ad hasn't garnered a positive ROAS, or return on ad spend, you turn it off. But now what we're seeing is when you have proper tracking in place, we'll talk about that in a little bit, that one ad, even though it's not directly attributed for a conversion as last touch, the sale wouldn't have happened if that user never saw that ad. Like there's a sequence between how a user will be served these ads that is the optimal way to get them to buy something or convert.
Yeah, it's super, super interesting. I think just to build on that a little bit. So looking into an ad campaign before assessing creative, you would see one ad that had a ton of impressions. And like you mentioned, either very low ROAS or no conversions at all. And you would immediately think, ad's not working, right? It's getting served a lot of different times. What I have seen in real life happen is you remove that ad like you should have during the previous way of working. And then the entire campaign tanks because you didn't realize that ad was chosen by Meta as an awareness play to start the journey. So they were starting the journey with that ad. So not just creating volume and velocity with the ads that you're putting out there, but being able to understand and analyze based on that as well.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about variations too, we're not talking about like a simple change, right? You can't just change the background. AI is way too smart and it understands what we're trying to do. It's not a game of putting that out there and making it red, making it blue. It's still the same ad. It's still the same message. It still serves the same purpose, and the user still has an intent that doesn't match it. So you're not going to get served that. What we mean by changing ads completely or a different context is a fundamental shift, right? So thinking about either having a UGC ad that talks about a certain problem that nobody knows about, right down to the comparison of that product, of your product versus another product. Those are all going to be served at different places, and you need to think about having completely different ads all within the same ad set and all within the same campaign, which is Again, if you asked me this a year ago, I would have said you're insane or you don't know what you're doing. But this is now the new reality.
Great. So I can touch on this one, high fidelity versus low fidelity. What's interesting as well, where agencies like ours can now be extremely effective in working with SMBs, and SMBs can be extremely effective in the marketplace. You don't need huge budget. In fact, having high production value ads is bad. Those ads don't perform nearly as well. It's all about authenticity online. People believe people, and they're not necessarily believing giant corporations. So
You're
there's,
saying you don't trust giant corporations?
well, I think that's the sentiment that,
Mm.
what you're going to believe coming from someone who's doing a more of a UGC, so user generated content, that could be someone filming themselves, talking about their experience with a product or a service. You're going to believe that a lot more. It's going to be a lot more persuasive than seeing like a car commercial.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I think it really levels the playing field too, right? Like there was a time not too long ago where budget was the be all end all. If you had more money, you could outspend everybody else and just be served. And your high production ad would look great, and eventually people would buy that. Now it is totally different. It's actually like Jake, you mentioned, it is the antithesis of what you should be doing. You should be creating high trust and literally low fi. There can be mistakes in that ad, and that's okay. It wants to. You want to make it look like a real person actually said the real things.
Yeah.
All right, so there's another layer to this, and essentially, I mean, we all really know about the traditional funnel, the different stages on the funnel. Um, but what we need to do when we're thinking about these ads is layer on another targeting parameters. So we need to think through the persona, like the who is this ad for, the desire, the what is that person looking for, and then the awareness, where they are on the stage. Do they know that there's a problem? Are they problem aware, or maybe they're solution aware and they're just shopping around? Those are a lot of different. I mean, over time, when you're evaluating any product or service, you're going to go through all of those stages. So it's important that we're breaking this down. So on the persona side of things, what that could be is you think about their mindset, right? Like, are they in a positive mood or are they in a negative mood based on your, like, what is your product going to where is it going to interrupt them in their journey, right? Is there's a problem that they have? Do they have certain pain points, right? Are, you know, maybe Grace had a pain point with you not putting things away. Maybe you had a pain point with being told what to do. I don't know. I'm not a psychoanalyst. But then also think about what your motivations are too. So that's kind of breaking down the persona. When we talk about those different ad types that we're creating, we also need to layer in all three of these different areas as well. So
Yeah.
on the desire side of things, we're thinking about why is that person looking for the product, right? Is it utility? Do I need this? Is it, dish soap where my dishes are going to be dirty forever if I don't purchase it? Is it transformational? Like, is this going to make my life better somehow? Is life going to get easier? Am I going to get another hour's worth of sleep because I've got said product? Or is it fulfillment? Maybe this just makes me happy, like a nice coat or, a new sports car, something like that. And then on the awareness side, all of these individual ads breaking it down, and Meta's looking for this stuff. They want to understand these things to serve it to the right people. On the awareness side, like I mentioned before, where are you? Like you mentioned, you did not even know that there was a problem there, and you were in the unaware stage of that contextual vector serving. I'm sure of it. All the way down to literally comparing products and ready to buy. So we've got to create creative ads that speak to all of these different journeys if we want to maximize and leverage Meta's Andromeda as best as we can.
Okay, let's get into more of the nitty gritty detail on how do you actually do this? What are these different types of ads? And we've dwindled it down to 8 styles of ads you require to put in your ad account to be successful. We have some customers, maybe they start off with budget issues, 1 or 2 ads, you can start to pick up some traction. But the customers that are most successful, they've got an ad for each one of these. And this could be a short form video ad. We're not today talking about the science behind creating an ad that will convert, although we have a framework for that as well. We talk about the hook, the first 2 to 3 seconds, is getting them interested in watching the rest of the duration. And you've got a body, which is talking about what the product or service actually is, or what challenge is it solving for. And then you've got the offer. So if it's a direct response ad, you're going to for a conversion at the end of it. So here's the 8 styles. So you've got UGC/testimonial. So you've seen these online. This could be, we've got a customer that does like beauty products. Hey, we use this product. That's great. You've seen these. That's one style of ad you would need. Product features and benefits. So hey, look at my product. This is what's so great about it. It does this, this, and this. It's a different ad. It could be a different creator. It could be a static ad, be a completely different format, but you need to have the product features and benefits. Then you've got us versus them, so you versus your competitors. You've got your founder's story. How did you start this company? Everyone's got an origin story, and in 2025, and they're projecting in 2026, is going to be even more important to humanize your brand. So
I'm just sorry, 1 second there too on the founder story side of things, because I can imagine people watching this right now might be like, I don't want to be on an ad. I just don't want my face out there. Like, I don't feel comfortable blasting that out there. A founder story can always also be about your mission, vision, values, or why the company is founded, or structurally. It doesn't necessarily have to be just the founder speaking. There's lots of different ways to explain the company.
yeah, and you can also create founder stories without having like a talking head style or a video of the founder talking about it. There's different ways you can use animation, but anyways, you want to have one of those. Face to camera explainer, talk about your product or service. Carousels and variants. So these are going to be different sliders of the products or services that you're offering. Stats and proof. So what is it you're providing your customers? With us, our ads, what's the return on ad spend? What's the outcome? Here's the stats that you have to kind of back it up. And depending on what your product is, beauty product, what's the before and after? Before you had that acne, afterwards, that's been solved for. So you want to be able to show that as well. And that's the before and afters as well. So
yeah, and we're going to take a look here just at a typical potential. We've set up a buyer's journey-ish and used home and auto insurance as our reference here. But I just wanted to speak on that really quickly. So all eight types of those ads, why you would hire an agency to help you create those ads is because we need to layer on that PDA framework that I talked about before. It's not as simple as just create type of ad and let it go. You have to actually think through where people are and make sure that certain types of ads are going to be repurposable for different stages in the buyer's journey. So there's a lot of thought and a lot of strategy that goes into creating the right set of ads.
Yeah. So in this example here, this is for insurance. We work with a lot of experience in the insurance industry, but here's the first one, say UGC and testimonial. So this is someone, again, talking about the product, how great it is. I use this company and they were terrific. Short form video ad. Product features and benefits, why you should get this type of insurance, our coverage versus competitors, why you should work with you versus someone else, founder story, face-to-face explainer, carousels, variants, stats and proof, before and after. You could create one of these different ad types, these 8 different ad types for each objective that you have. So if your objective is to sell, auto insurance, you could have, one of these just for auto insurance. If you want to do it for home insurance, you can have 8 different ads just for home. And the targeting, again, it's amazing. We're not just targeting, hey, focus on this geographic area. It's whenever someone's got that pain point, they're having that conversation with someone, they're reading their mind, so to speak. They're then going to be put into your funnel, and all these different ads are going to be shown to them.
Yeah, and that's why
in sequence.
That's why in this diagram too, there's no direct line to each one of these. So it's not create one and hope for things to happen. They all intersect and interact with each other in different various journeys, like we're going to talk about right here.
Yeah, so again, this is just explaining how you're going to lead a customer down the funnel. Maybe they're going to start off in the awareness phase and they're going to see a founder story. And it's going to be you explaining your, in this case, insurance brokerage, right? Who we are, what we do, whatever. Then you're also going to, maybe that person also saw the testimonial video. Hey, I worked with this company. They were terrific. They're going to start to go down to consideration phase. We've got different ads speaking towards that. Us versus them. Decision. Now we've got the product benefits or product features. Oh, why should I go with this company? Us versus them, etc. And then you're going down for the action, stats and proof, what have you. This is just an idea of what it could look like. The actual journey could be not quite as linear.
It's probably as complex as we are as human beings. So as similar as we are, that
You're a
journey is
very
going to
simple
be.
man, Isaac.
I'm also a very simple man, so our journeys might be simpler
Okay.
than this one. But there, I would venture to guess there are a lot of more complex human beings out there. Some of them take time to make their decisions. Some of them want a product right away.
Yeah.
So it's really the art of getting all of these different types of influencers being creative in front of people at the right time.
Yeah.
All right, this is our final poll.
Final poll coming up right now.
All right, so the poll question is, how are you thinking about your social media ad investment in 2026? So are you going to invest significantly less than you used to? Will you keep it relatively flat from 2025? And are you planning on investing significantly more?
Okay, votes are coming in. And we've got 7 seconds remaining.
7 seconds.
It's down to 5 now, Isaac.
Okay. 2, 1, and that's time. That is time.
And the winner is, most people are going to be keeping it relatively flat. So
yeah, interest
about the same from what they had before.
Yeah, and this makes me a little bit happy inside too. We have 0 votes for will invest significantly less, because that would, to me, if I was running any business out there, that is the wrong answer, hands down.
Yeah.
More, keeping it flat, understanding the landscape, doing more with less, I think is possible as well. It's really about repurposing the strategy, right? So there are plenty of ways to get there. I think there's an elite level that you can get to with all of these different types of videos, and there's a pathway to get there. There's steps. So a couple videos, couple static ads. There's a lot of different ways to get to the end result that you want to.
Yeah.
All right. So what that means in terms of actual setup, we're giving away some of the sauce here, but that's what we do on webinars. We give stuff away. One campaign per objective. So as Jake mentioned before, if you're selling home insurance, you should have one campaign in your Meta account. You should have one ad set. That's it. So it takes away a lot of that initial slicing and dicing and segmenting that we used to do with audiences. But within those ad sets in that campaign, we need a ton of creative. So we need 8 different types of creative at the optimal level that are modified and optimized for the PDA framework. So understanding all of that times 8 is how you get to where you want to get to. On top of that,
you want to have data and analytics, and looking at the time, I'm going to go a bit quicker here, but you want to make sure you have server-side tracking, so CAPI, and that really means you've got Chrome tracking, or most time it would be Chrome.
Yeah, there's browser-side tracking
browser side
or server-side.
So it's just a way of getting more granular with your tracking and to be more accurate.
Yeah, also a one-to-one connection, so you don't have to worry about third-party cookies. This is the way to alleviate that. So it gets rid of some of the privacy issues.
Yeah.
All right, and then with that as well. So if we're strategizing differently and we're measuring things differently, we probably should expect different things, right, Jake?
I think that's exactly right. So you don't want to be focusing anymore on certain metrics like click-through rate or cost per click. We want to be focusing on ROAS. So you need to make sure you've got the proper tracking attribution set up so you can feed it back to the system. And a lot of companies out there don't have proper CRM set up. They don't have that feedback mechanism. It's super easy in e-commerce. We've got a lot of e-commerce customers where you're feeding it directly back. In most cases, it's Shopify. So they've clicked in through the ad, they made a purchase, it goes back. The issue you have with a lot of customers, though, is they don't have that feedback loop. So leads are being generated. You can't quantify the quality.
Essential. I mean, the old adage, garbage in, garbage out. In this case, high octane fuel in, high octane fuel out.
So to make this really work, you need to make sure you've got that feedback loop, whatever that looks like.
Absolutely. And as we mentioned before, volume and velocity, right? So making sure that you are ready to go. Then in the new world, it's not just about putting a whole bunch of stuff out there and hoping that it works. You got to measure these things. So it's about constantly culling your bottom 20% and repurposing them for other objectives later. It's not that they're not working; they're just not working now. So, being able to read the tea leaves or read the campaigns and understand what needs to be moved in and what needs to be moved out—that's a talent all on its own. And we've created a sort of a sprint idealism to capture that.
So why start now? We're really, like I said, we are at I think it's the golden era. Some of our customers, like,
It's crazy.
we're the ad agency who's running these ads for them, but you look at the revenue they're bringing in, and it's
20x on ROAS. Some of them are higher than
spending
that.
$1 getting $20 back on selling their product. It's crazy. So if you know what you're doing, you can be incredibly successful. And I think over the next few years, it's going to shift a bit. AI is being able to produce a lot of this content really cheaply and quick. So I think the market is going to be just flooded with AI content and call it 2 years, but we're not there yet. You're starting to see some of AI content. I think it's pretty recognizable. But if you've got the proper ad strategy and you're doing things with authentically, I think you're going to be extremely successful in the next 1 to 2 years.
Agreed. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's exponential growth right now. And I don't know, I definitely haven't lived in a time like this, right? I remember the internet when that came around. This is different. Things are moving way faster.
You were around when the first computers came out too, weren't you, Isaac?
I think I invented the first computer,
Yeah.
actually.
There you go.
Myself and Grace Hopper, I think, were part of that.
Perfect. So if there are 3 things we want you to take away from this webinar, they should be: 1, creative diversity replaces targeting levers. You must have proper creatives, short form videos, statics, for all those 8 different ad types.
Yeah, just basically the strategy has moved back a step.
Those who create with volume and velocity will win.
We've seen it.
Ads are exhausted, you need to start creating more and more and more. Look at that one example I gave at the very start. Small HVAC company, 220 ads, local company.
Crushing it.
Like, you need to continually create ads. And creative strategy and measurement are more important than ever.
Yeah.
If you don't have proper attribution set up, if you don't know how to track your ads properly, you're not going to win.
No, you're throwing spaghetti at a wall and hoping it sticks, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spaghetti at the wall.
Spaghetti.
Okay. Next steps, what you should be doing: audit your current structure. So what are you currently doing? Identify your creative gaps. Do you have the 8 ad types? If you don't, you're probably leaving money on the table. And this is a little bit sales focus. Book a strategy call with Consult Us. We know how to do this stuff.
I'm not getting there.
We do want to open it up right now to Q&A.
Questions. Yeah. So there is a question mark button that you can press at the bottom of your screen, I imagine. Go ahead and populate any questions in there, and we will do our best to answer them for the next 7 minutes. And also just wanted to thank everybody for attending this. I know it's valuable time out of your day. We wouldn't be hosting this webinar or putting this on if we didn't think that this was that valuable for people to understand.
Okay, so we have a question coming in here. Video ads have been leading on Meta for some time.
True.
Does the same apply, or will statics have a larger impact now?
That's an interesting question. Video ads are still leading. I think the amount of, if you think about data points, right? So video is worth 1,000 pictures or something like that. They say a picture's worth 1,000 words. Video is worth 1,000 pictures. There is so much more for the Andromeda engine and the video chip to break down in a video to learn. So it's not that static ads don't work. It is, if you think about broken down into vectors, there's so much more opportunity to match proper user with proper ad through a video ad.
Cool.
We've got another question. Is ad copy still important, or is the creative the key driver? That's another interesting question. Ad copy is still very important. In fact, I would say it's more important now than it was before. Ad copy wasn't something that any meta algorithm was reading and using in terms of targeting. Now it is. So they're scanning the ad. If you have the wrong things written in your ad now, it's going to be a bad situation for you, but it's taking everything into account, right? The creative is still key. The creative is still 95% of this, but if you wanted to beat the other 95% of you both equal, ad copy is an important thing to have.
Great. Okay, I've got another question here. How much do ad creatives cost? So ad creatives are really depending on what it is you need to do. So if you've got, if you already have some creatives or if you need a media team to create it, the price is going to vary, but typically it's starting at $3,500 and it's going up. We've got some customers that are on a recurring ad package. We're just continually creating different ads for them.
Yeah, I think it's important to know that one size doesn't fit all here, right? We got to take a look under the hood and see what's needed for sure.
Cool.
Another question we have: does Andromeda work with retargeting or lookalike audiences? A common misconception, because I still see ad accounts when we inherit them from other agencies that have lookalike audiences and retargeting built in. That is no longer the way to do things. Why would you tell a supercomputer what you think it should be doing if it's working with data? It doesn't make any sense, right? So even a simple lookalike audience, top 1% of converters in the last 15 days is something you might see within an ad account. Don't do it. Don't add any sort of audiences. Simple.
Perfect.
Yep.
Okay, I think that is bringing us to the end of the webinar.
I think it is. Yes, we had our discussion time. If anyone does want to get in contact with us and you don't already know who we are, we can be reached at jake@consultusdigital.com or isaac@consultusdigital.com, or just feel free to check out our website. We've got lots of ways you can talk to us there.
Cool. Yeah, or even if you just have questions, right? Yeah, let us know.
Sure.
Happy to answer. Yep. Awesome. Well, that concludes the Wednesday edition of the Andromeda. So
Yeah.
thank you very much for watching and have yourself a wonderful day.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Bye-bye.